Because it's been a minute since we did this. Need to get back in the.
It has been a minute.
In the case.
It's been a minute since we did this.
It's been an hour since we did this.
It's been an hour since we did this. Hello, Blurred Nation. See, I came up with that just now. We call it the Blurred Nation. The everyday Blurred Nation. We've been gone for a few weeks.
I think it's been more like a month.
It's been about a month, but it's
or
not.
More.
It's not us procrastinating or us being lazy. We had a project that we were a part of. We're gonna talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
That's actually the topic of the day: the movie industry and what we've been up to. But yeah, what's been going on with you? Other than the craziness that we were about to talk about, yeah.
Been working on my thesis proposal, but that's a whole other.
Thesis proposal.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing for a whole other day. It's.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of heavy.
Heavy and sciencey and I don't know. Interesting to me, but boring to others probably.
No, I'm pretty sure anyone who took the time to watch this video might be interested in it. So we'll talk about that later. Yeah. So okay. Well, anyway, we do our kampai. So yeah, like we were saying, we've been gone for a few weeks. It's been like it hasn't been that long.
Well, I think we did one right after we filmed, I think, or right before we filmed. I remember we said that we
were going to be filming over the next month. Yeah,
I can't remember which one.
So it was right before we started. This is my memory.
Okay.
This goddamn cicada. So what happened was, right before we started filming, we said we would be filming. That was like a week before, or a week or two after. Yeah. So it's been like a month. It's been about a month.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try to get back on track. I hate the cicada thing.
They don't sound that loud
to us, but when I hear it back on editing,
I know that.
Fucking
but
ridiculous. Yeah. Look at the older videos.
I know.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah. Anyways, film.
So back to the film. So yeah, we were. So yeah, for the past month, we still really can't tell you the title, but we can tell you it's a superhero film. I'm a stunt guy, if you didn't know. I work in the film industry. I worked on Avengers: Infinity War, Endgame, and Black Panther. That's actually the stunt team shirt. And yeah, you know, we wanted to make a superhero film, me and a small group. And so we made a superhero film, and yeah, hopefully, you know, it's gonna get some traction and make some waves. I think we did a good job.
I think so. I think the whole idea was always you work on other people's projects.
Yeah.
And now that there are no projects because of whole COVID fun times.
Yeah. Super bad flu season.
Yeah. Might as well take this advantage of this downtime and work on something you want to do and like actually get your own creative juices out there for other people to see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing about like filmmakers and people who work in the film industry. Like, before you even get to that point where you're working for like these big studios, you always have this passion to make movies,
right?
In one way or the other. And then once you start working, you forget about that passion. You kind of just fold into the system. Yeah. And then all those passions are kind of burnt out, and only the real, like, maybe, you know, it's very often that actors or stunt guys or DPs, director of photography, like maybe 30 years down the line, they're like, hey, why did I stop making films? And then they jump back into it. So that's when you have your like what's his name, Ben Affleck. He started making his own films like Argo and stuff like
Argo?
that. Yeah.
That's a horse one?
No. Argo, I do believe it's the Iranian embassy.
Oh, I don't know, is that called Argo?
Movie. I think it's called Argo.
I wanted to watch that. I never did watch it.
I did watch it. It's a cool movie. And he also did Live by Night, Live by Night, or Live by Night, however you want to say it. But yeah, so, you know, and then he was going to write the script for the new Batman movie, and he kind of had cold feet. I think his alcohol consumption got a little out of hand. Warner Brothers wanted to disconnect from that, and he was just going through a lot of stress, and Warner Brothers stresses with Justice League losing a lot of money. So, well, not losing money, but didn't make the potential.
As much as they wanted it to.
anyway, the point is, celebrities, and especially celebrities and people who have actually made it and can make a career. People who have made a career out of this, they come back to it and they want to do more filmmaking. So anyway, back on point.
That's it.
That's me right now in COVID season. Yay! I'm not working. I'm not doing shit, and most of us weren't doing shit. So now we got to make a superhero film. So we thought today we would talk about some lessons that many people didn't know, because you learned a lot of stuff.
I learned a lot of
this.
stuff working on it.
She was my assistant / kind of stunt assistant, stunt coordinated assistant type. So
/ assistant, costume / crafty.
Well, that's what an assistant does. That's what I said.
Towel
assistant.
girl.
Call girl? Oof. I don't know about that.
Towel girl.
Towel girl.
Yeah. Sweaty McSweaterson over here.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you learned?
It is a lot more involved than. I mean, I always knew it took a lot of people to do it.
Yeah.
But you never really think about when you say movie making, you're like, okay, you got the director with his chair and his director chair, and like, okay, action, cut, and they film, and then we have the movie, right? You don't really think about pre-production, storyboarding, getting your team together, and then post-production,
which is that's what we're currently in.
The biggest part, or not biggest part, the longest part probably of the filmmaking process. Yeah, so I didn't realize. So
you had no exposure to any film, really behind the scenes filmmaking, and
very minor. 'Cause I did like a few extra roles, but like
but you never saw
minor.
You never saw the working mechanism.
No.
You were always part of that canvas.
Yeah.
But you never saw how the canvas was built, right? And so it's a new experience for you.
Yeah.
In all honesty, this project became much bigger than I originally thought it would be. That's a good thing. The quality was definitely higher.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, and
so you want to talk about like the pre-production, like what goes into?
Yeah, let's break it down. Yeah. And you mentioned a few things. You learned about pre-production, actual filming.
Yeah.
And now we're in post-production, so now you're learning how that works. And then you're learning a little bit about the politics and all of that, which we won't even.
won't even talk about that, but yeah.
But yeah, so from beginning to end, how is a movie made, right? So usually, there's even something before pre-production, right? Because movies cost money.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of like a kind of an investment producer round. So it's like pre-production, where the idea is floated around for all those interested parties who will lend their talents and lend their money to make the thing happen. We went through that as well. So we got, we got some good technical people behind the camera, and we got some good lighting people and a good studio to work with, and we got some really good stunt guys that I know, and we just did our thing. Mm-hmm. So those, that's a whole process in itself.
So that comes before.
Yeah, even before pre-production, because you can't really make your story in pre-production. So you need, so before we even get into pre-production.
And these are for the bigger films.
And even this one, the process that we went through to make this. Before you can even get into pre-production, you need to know what it is you're making.
The story.
And the team behind it.
Right.
Because if you don't have those things together, then pre-production, which is a whole nother set.
I guess, when you say pre-production, what do you mean exactly? Like, what are you including in this?
Right. So pre-production is before you go into production and filming.
Yeah.
So pre-production includes the team, but like you learned, these teams become very big. So before you even get to that level, you kind of need a team before the team.
Right.
Yeah. So pre-production usually means that they're putting together the team.
The core team.
Yeah. The second level kind of team, and pre-production irons out story and make sure all the producers and people who are involved are comfortable with what's going to happen next. That's the best way to put it.
And producers is the money people.
Producers not all the time, because like in this case, Jamal is a producer, Gildersleeve. And because he has creative input. So producers there's different levels of producers and what their involvement is. Maybe they get like a favor. You get a favor and you get you give them producer credit. Things like that. So they just help put the thing together to begin with. But yeah, so that's even before pre-production. You got that. You kind of get your core team. You kind of get that major outline of a story and the pitch, and then you pitch the different talents to say, hey, let's come together and let's make this thing, right? When you get into pre-production stage, like I was just alluding to, you start working on the script a little bit more, massaging it, making sure that it's kind of ironed out before you get into filming, and you start filling out your team. So in my case, I had maybe 3 main core stunt guys for rigging and stuff like that, really good guys.
And rigging is how to get the wire
yeah,
work.
wire work, stuff like that, and so rigging, and then I got my fight guys, and I got my action, different the elements that we have in that film. I had about 3 main team guys, and then from those 3 we expanded out and started getting other guys and talent.
Yeah.
Same thing with the actors. Because I'm a producer in this, I already had an idea in my head who the actors would be.
You knew like the look you wanted and the feel that they were going to bring to it.
Yeah. And so when you get into pre-production, you bring those guys together. They say yes, and then you have their input. Let's talk about like the major positions then. So you have your director, you have your director of photography, which is the DP, referred to as DP, and you have camera assistants and camera operators. Those are the guys behind those cameras. And we just learned a new position, focus puller.
Focus puller, yeah. So I did not know this, and I was very surprised.
Yeah.
So when we go out and we take a picture, right, we have our camera, and then we manually focus or we autofocus. But when you're filming, there's a guy who holds the camera, who's literally operating it, and then to get focus is a completely other guy's job.
Another job, yeah.
I did not know that. I thought you had the camera.
And it would do like an autofocus thing, or the camera operator would.
I thought the camera operator was the one who focused it.
Yeah, and then it depends on the circumstances. So like he was on a Steadicam.
Yeah. Well, was it a Steadicam?
I think he was on a Steadicam. So there
was one. Yeah, there was a Steadicam operator, and then there was another operator.
Right. So when you're on the Steadicam system, you don't have time to adjust the focus. So you have someone else do that for you. And that's the focus puller.
Yeah.
And so, that's some of the major positions. But as you can see, these jobs could be like in the tens.
But
10s to 20.
So, the DP. So I guess what's the difference between the director? So the director says how to film it, and then the DP says how to get those shots.
So I mean, what happened is that the main job of a director is multifaceted.
Yeah.
So he has to worry about a lot of stuff, the performance. He has to worry about the technical side. He has to worry about what sounds or what's happening in the background.
Yeah.
This is a lot of work.
Oh, sound too is another thing.
The sound department as well. And so the director has to juggle all these things on the technical side, making sure all that's good, while at the same time juggling the performance, making sure that's okay.
Yeah.
So the director needs to know a little bit about everything, but is not an expert. Doesn't have to be an expert on any particular thing. The thing about the director of photography, his only job is to make sure that his or her.
Well, we're saying his in this because on our set, the director was a guy and the DP was a guy, so that's why we're automatically going to he.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they are. Just that's in our case, that's what it was.
Yeah, whoever the person is. Could be a baby.
Probably not.
Probably not. And so, the director of photography, his only job is to make sure the look is right, the lighting is hitting right, and just the way it's shot is correct. Camera operator, his job is to carry that big old luggy thing and make sure we get the shots we need in the right position, especially when you have these action shots.
Yeah. And then one that I was confused, Brian, the guy with the tape. He kept putting tape on the ground, and he was doing the. What's his?
Well, he's a gaffer and assistant, so
AD. He was the first AD.
First AD, exactly. So again, these are all positions to smoothen out the process. So when he was putting the tape on the ground, those are marks. So especially when you have a shot which has different focuses, when you hit certain marks, the focus puller can be much more in sync. So you hit the same spot at the same time, so the focus puller and the camera operator and everyone know where you're going to be.
Okay.
So you put those tape on the ground so that we know where we're going to end up, and everyone knows where we're going to end up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's like, okay, you stand where you are. So you put a tape there, and then the focus puller can okay, you're going to be when you get to this part, I'm going to have
like
this focus.
Right.
Okay.
So it just makes it so take out the guesswork.
Okay. So and then the thing is just for the editor to know where to cut where the new take
begins and where it ends. Yep. Okay. And so yeah, that was interesting. And then so that's on the technical side. That's the major jobs on the technical side. Sound, we got to give props to sound. Sound has a huge job. You know, the big guy with the boom mic. He has to follow all the stuff that's happening and pick up the background noise and everything. And then you have sound put mics on us, so when we're talking, you can hear all that. They need to make sure that sounds good and in sync, and so they have a big job as well.
Yeah.
And lighting, of course. It's a dark shoot, so it's all night time. So lighting for a black guy is like gold. You need a good lighting team for black performers. So
yes, I was watching something. I was watching something the other night.
Yeah.
And they were in a cornfield, like at night, like creepily going through the cornfield.
Sure.
And then there's these blue lights on them, which is supposed to be the moon. And I it's both cool and kind of breaks you out of it.
To see how
the behind the scene, because I was like, oh, okay, so they had a blue light on this.
Yeah.
So it was cool to now I saw whatever it was I was watching, and I remember.
Yeah.
But to see that lighting and be like, okay, this is how they did it.
Makes sense now.
It makes sense, but then also it kind of ruins it because I know that wasn't the moon or whatever.
Welcome to the world of filmmakers. So sometimes you can't enjoy the movie for what it is.
Yeah.
You see all these little things. That's why the mistakes really matter. Because all the other guys can see it.
They can see it, yeah.
So it's funny. But so now on the performance side, you have stunt guys. So you have your main stunt coordinator, which I was stunt coordinator on this. I had multiple parts in this. Producer, stunt coordinator, even kind of co-directing parts of it.
Yeah. Like
second unit director. And also performing in it. So I had a lot of jobs, and
I think that's kind of the thing about small productions, is everyone wears multiple hats.
Yeah,
when you've got multi-million-dollar.
Yeah.
You've got probably five people.
Yeah.
Doing the same one role to make sure it's done well and efficiently.
Exactly.
But when you don't have that kind of money or time.
Yep.
You got. One person doing 5.
And then at the same time, as a producer, I had an image in my head.
Yeah.
And so it was just easier.
Yeah.
I could have found someone to do this, but it would be easier if I just talk it through, because I could connect different worlds. But that's why they hire so many people. Productions, the average Hollywood production may have 5,000 to 10,000 people working on it.
That's crazy.
And at any given point in time, so it's a big deal. Lots of money. So, but you have your stunt coordinator, and you have your assistants, and you have your core team members and riggers who will work the wires, and then you have your fight team who will put the fights together, and you have your utility guys who will make fire stunts happen or driving stunts happen. And
you have a fight coordinator, too, sometimes it isn't necessarily the same as the stunt coordinator.
No, not at all. And then you have your actors, actors have a unique position in that they have they speak directly to the director and stunt coordinators. Mm-hmm. No one else, really. So they are their own boss.
Yeah.
And that's why they get so much praise. No one tells them what to do. Their job is to make the performance come alive. And you hired them to do that. So as an actor, you need to know how to bring life to a scene or make it yours. And if you can't do that, then acting it becomes a very hard thing. You have to have that it factor, something that draws the attention to you, right? And you can bring something new to the scene. The better you can do that, then you become like Samuel L. Jackson, where you hire him just for him to bring Samuel L. Jackson to your movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And then, so after all of that, so for us, we filmed for about 3 days. It was originally going to be a 2-day shoot, but we knew it. We would run over, and we had a 3-day shoot, 12 hours per day. That's how long it takes to really shoot something with any type of quality to it. And
some days we went over 12, I think.
Yeah,
but
12 to 14 hours easy.
Yeah.
And
but that's kind of a short day, because sometimes when you're on like actual set, you can get like 16-hour days.
Easy. Yeah. For me, it was easy to get 16-hour days, and they try to make sure that doesn't happen, but you're on a tight schedule. So and then that brings us down to post production, which we're currently in, and you see that, and we will update you on that. But post production has a lot of like visual effects, CG, sound editing, just editing. Right now, we're just trying to put together our clips and get a good flow for how the story is played out, and
this is part of where the creativity comes in, because if you and I both have our clips together, we can come out with two very different things, because of how we cut those clips together and how we use music and sound and whatever else. And
each producer on this, who has a creative producer credit, has their input, so everyone has to agree, and that takes a long time, as you're seeing. And so everyone has to be on one accord, say, okay, well, I like this, I gave up this, but you got that, blah blah blah. We take our clips, and we got to go back and reshoot a few things. So we're in that post-production phase, so hopefully next week we get to reshoot a few things, insert a few things, then we have all our clips together. And visual effects, hopefully by next week we'll have all their stuff done, and then we start piecing together a kind of version 2 of our cut, and then sound can get on board, and then so we're thinking realistically, based on the speed that we're going right now, 2 to 3 weeks.
I'm gonna give it more than that, honestly, because
it takes a while, and then everyone has to be on the same accord. And if people are busy and all these other stuff, no one's getting paid millions of dollars to just focus on this.
That's the thing. So, when you're not getting paid, you got other stuff can come in.
Yeah. So I tried to calm down. I'm with you. I want this to be done because it's so good. We have such a great thing coming for you guys. Eventually. You just to stick it out. I'm hoping by September we can get a little launch thing going. And if you guys could help spread it, that would help. And hopefully we make a few more and bring a few more of our friends in on it. So,
but I guess what did you learn from this, or is there stuff you would have done differently on the next one? Or
on the next one, I think to be honest with you, things went smoother than I thought it would. It's just this post production part. I just think. I think I think the creative team has to be better synced. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I don't know how I'm going to get them more, the creative side more in sync, so that post production happens a little bit smoother. And what I learned is that what I really did learn is that you're gonna have to spend money. You're gonna always spend more than you ever budgeted for, and so I have to take an account for that. And but the thing about me, every project needs to be bigger and bigger. So I want to see how the end result of this is and how we spread it. But I'm sure the lessons that I will learn will have everything to do with post-production and how we get this film out so people can see it. But in
that's
terms
the other
of
part that we didn't talk about is after the movie's made, you have a whole other
you have a whole marketing section,
distribution people,
and that's a whole realm that I'm not even quite sure of. But we're learning. But you need as much eyes on the thing as possible.
And for those big films, that's getting it into the cinemas.
Obviously,
we're not getting it in the cinemas.
And then you have to make your money back. You got to make your money back, and then make a little bit of money on the side so you can do the next thing and pay people and make a career out of it. So there's a lot that goes into it. But for budding filmmakers, maybe it might be you, even independent filmmaker. You want to just make sure you have a good plan in the beginning. A good team to carry that plan out, dedicated, who won't quit on you halfway through. That's what you're really paying for if you're paying money or if you're putting these guys together. Don't worry about how good they are. Will they stick with the project? I think that's worth way more than their
and
past things.
I think, one of the reasons why, this was an
pretty ambitious
plan. Like from day one, I knew it was an ambitious plan. But I think one of the reasons why it went off as smoothly as it did was because we spent so much time
in the planning stage.
We got a good team together, but we're like, okay, this is the shots that we want. This is how we want it to look. So before we even got anybody on set, we were like, okay, we went through previs, which is something that people do. Is like this is our shots. This is our scene. This is how we're gonna shoot it.
Yeah.
Because figuring out camera angles takes a long time.
Yeah.
And that was actually one of the reasons why I feel like we wasted a lot of time was over camera angles.
Well, I mean, at the same time, so I'm gonna try to shorten what you just said, but at the same time, if you're on these major studios, that's how they shoot.
Yeah.
I know. When you're from the outside, you can't see it, but you have to shoot different angles.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, not everyone lives in your head. So.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, or fortunately, and then sometimes you get so you have multiple people. The director has his angles in his head. The DP has his angles in his head. You have your angles in your head, and each time you change positions, you have to change lighting, and so the thing about everyone on the outside, especially performers, they don't understand that takes time. Performers and everyone looking on the outside is like, oh, why the hell are we shooting the same thing again? Well, it's because there's one little accident, like someone might shave the head off. Oops, oh, we got to do it again. Like every single small mistake adds time.
Yeah.
And so the better your team, the less those mistakes. But even with that out the way, you have to shoot every angle because you don't know what you want to use in the editing room. With that out the way, this was a really good recap of what we went through for the past 3 weeks. Hopefully the other 3 weeks will be done and we'll have an update for you. But we're going to be shooting every week. We're going to continue our topics on this show, and hopefully we can put more insight into those little bits and pieces of the filmmaking for each show. Because I think a lot of people can learn from it. So
I feel like this is a very broad stroke thing, kind of overview of the film industry.
Yeah.
But there's so much we can go over.
So in depth.
Yeah.
I could have a whole show just for in-depth. Now, let me know. I can go into in-depth about how the stunt industry works. That's my field. But just, directing in general and acting. I know there's a lot of actors all the time coming to me and say, hey, how do I work in the film industry and whatever? And it's such a complicated thing. I don't know what to say half the time. I'm like, dude, just keep practicing. That's the best thing you can do. Practice, make movies, and
well, that could be another thing. It's like, how did you get into it?
Yeah, we'll save that for another show.
That's what I'm saying. Obviously, that's another thing we do.
But the truth is, the way that it happened to me, more than likely won't happen for you. So, but I'll still tell my story.
I think everybody has their journey and stuff. Yeah,
it's a different process. Anyway, any last words?
Well, no, not really. I guess, as I'm telling more words.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of the amount of work we did and what we were able to accomplish. Everyone on set was like, this is way bigger of a production than I thought it was going to be. Like, we put a professional team together to make a professional film.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see how it comes out when everything's said and done, with all VFX and everything is done. I'm excited to see how it turns out.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll give you guys an update in a bit. And thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you. We hope to do this, twice a week, hopefully.
At
least keep the rhythm going.
At least once a week. Hopefully we don't have another month break.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, but
man, my car got hit even. It's a ridiculous month, but
and then some illnesses, no COVID, thankfully, but it's been a crazy month. Yeah.
Anyway, guys.
But
I think that's it for now. And don't forget to subscribe and comment for sure. And if we could keep doing this, I think we will. So
more questions, anything? Yeah. Anyways.
All right.
Thanks for sticking around.
Thank you for sticking around. See you guys in a few days, and thanks. Take care. Enjoy your Friday.